At the Office, Cleveland's home for sports talk that never clocks out. From the latest headlines to heated debates, we're diving into everything sports. It's your hosts, Noah and Matt.
Cleveland, how we doing? I'm being a little bit more quiet than normal because it is a late night edition of At the Office, a Cleveland sports show where we discuss all things sports. I'm your host, Noah, joined by my co-host, Matt. And you can join us too at the office. Feel free to leave us a comment on YouTube, Facebook, X, or text and call the show. It's right here, 216-260-3433. Matt, I am tired as hell. How are you, buddy?
I'm about the same. I'm, as always, excited to be here, but it is indeed a late night.
Listen, I went to regular work. I had a cab shift today. I made it to the gym. And you know what? I still wanted to talk to the people because there's some cool Browns news going on, and the Cavs have some stuff that we need to talk about. So, Matt, let's get into it with first, the most important, not the most important, but an interesting topic. Browns interviewed Shedeur Sanders at the Shrine Bowl. He isn't participating in the Shrine Bowl, but he's at the Shrine Bowl. First, I want to show a couple things. So here is this tweet right here, speaking about how Shedeur won't play or practice in the Shrine Bowl, but he met with multiple teams and he was there. And I also want to show this video clip. So, Matt, let's pause for a second so we can show this. And then I want your reactions to everything Browns and Shedeur.
They say you a Cleveland Brown. That's what they say, word on the street. I don't know where I'm going. I'm just thankful, bro. Whoever picked me. Look at that.
So there was a lot of reactions, and yes, that video was clipped up to a point of people saying it seemed like Shedeur didn't want to play here. Shedeur. What are your thoughts, Matt? I want to hear everything that you have to think about with the Colorado quarterback prospect.
I want to lead by saying I still don't think he's the guy, especially for Cleveland. But I also, want to double down on kind of what we said last week in the if, that camp in Berea is convinced that that is their guy, then you have to go get him. There's no excuse not to get him.
Yeah, but what did you think about the video? Because I saw a lot of people reacting to that and saying that it didn't seem like he was interested in playing for the Browns, where I more so took even the longer form version of that video, right? As I'm going to take the politically correct answer here because I could go anywhere in the top 10 and I don't want to commit to any of these teams, as anybody of right sound and mind would. Is that how you felt about it?
Yeah, that's exactly what I take from it. And I don't really think there's too much to play with that. I mean, obviously there's the rumors of, Dion not wanting him in Cleveland. I can't say I blame the man if that's true, but you got it. That's the answer you have to give when you get asked that question and it's going on social media. Like, what do you expect him to say?
100%. I'm with you 100%. Listen, to me, the be-all, end-all of this whole the Browns interview Sanders situation is damn right they should. They should be doing their damn due diligence on every top 10, hell, every top 15 player in this draft. Every quarterback in this draft, they should be doing their due diligence on, because whether we like it or not, there's no answer at quarterback right now. So it doesn't matter if it's Shedeur or Dylan Gabriel or whatever prospect you want to list from front to back in this draft. They better be doing their homework on every single one of them. So them interviewing the guy who is viewed as the number one quarterback in this class, damn right they should be. And if anybody is scratching their head or being like, no, let's go Abdul, they might still go Abdul. But right now is not just double down and go for Abdul time. It's time to do our research on these prospects because you have the number 2 pick in the draft. And if you have the number 2 pick in the draft, you could change the franchise. And that's just me. Matt, do you have anything else on Mr. Sanders himself or what I just said?
I mean, I think another way to kind of look at it too, from my perspective, being the big, trade back guy, this very well could just be, a hype, that tagline's getting into the media of Browns meet with Shedeur, expecting interest, might make a team a little more aggressive, a little more willing to pay to move to that 2 slot if that's what we want to do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's another long form avenue of what that could be.
The NFL draft is a big poker game, and right now Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry have the sunglasses on, the flat face, and the cards up to their face like this. For those who are watching at home, of course, for the audio-only version, you didn't see what I was doing with my hands there. But, yes, I agree with you wholeheartedly, Matt. Listen, before we go into our next topic, I just want to shout out, we have 1 week left. The Cavs won tonight against the Detroit Pistons. We are doing a jersey giveaway where all you have to do is follow us on X, YouTube, and Instagram, and you will be entered to win. Drawing on February 3rd, announced via our X account. It'll be on YouTube and Instagram during the videos and stuff that come out throughout the week. But yeah, go out there. The Cavs are great. Donovan Mitchell is an all-star starter. Go out there and win a jersey. Matt said he's paying for the whole thing too, right, Matt?
Something like that, maybe.
Okay. Word. Let's get back into it. Head coach Kevin Stefanski will call the plays for the Cleveland Browns in 2025 instead of new offensive coordinator Tommy Rees. What are your reactions to it? What are your thoughts? Matt, I got a fun cut video real quick I want to show before we go in. And for the audio people as well, you can hear everything that's going on. We'll be here.
As far as play calling, which I know you guys are going to ask, I'm going to call plays, and I reserve the right to change my mind. Okay? So, without further ado, Tommy Rees. No.
So for those who couldn't hear at the end there, one of the reporters was like, one question real quick, and he just said no and had it off. That's the kind of fun stuff I want to see out of the Cleveland Browns right now, because it has been a dark and murky 2024 into 2025 season. Matt, you are a anti-Kevin Stefanski guy in terms of play calling. What are your thoughts on this whole topic?
Oh, brother, here we go again.
Now, wait. Here we go again. What do you mean, here we go again? Because I'll let you go. Hold on. I'll let you go.
You know exactly how I feel about our last run with Kevin as a play caller. I think he's a horrible play caller. He's not good at it. But I was thinking about this before the show, and I am willing to, take the bait. I'll give him the first quarter of week 1 next year to not be an absolute moron calling plays. And he knows it too. In that answer he gave at the podium by, going no and running off. Yeah, that's fun. But he knows on that first 3rd and 12 draw that he calls, the stadium's going to be erupting and they're not going to be happy.
So let me ask you this. You said he's a horrible play caller, right? Kevin Stefanski, while he was calling the plays for the Cleveland Browns, 2 Coach of the Years, 2 playoff berths, the Joe Flacco resurgence, a record of 40-35. Yes, that's not fantastic, but compared to what happened when we sent Ken Dorsey in there for the rest of the season last year, come on. Tommy Rees has never called an NFL play in his life. So taking the reins away from the young guy, letting him learn in this Kubiak system, which is part of the coaching tree Kevin Stefanski is a part of, for those who don't know. Learn and let Kevin do what he is good at. To say he's not good at it because you're upset about some 3rd down draws or a fucking end around, I'm sick of it. If you want good play calling, where is your answer? Do you think Tommy Rees is the answer, Matt?
No, I absolutely don't. I don't think we have a good answer on the team right now. I think Tommy Rees could develop into it, but I'm going to flip that right on its head. And if you're going to sit here and say that his 2 Coach of the Years or that Flacco magical run is purely because of his amazing play, you're absolutely insane. That is
that's not, but to discredit that, Matt, from the whole piece of the pie that's going on.
That is awesome. That is phenomenal. I think he did great jobs in his Coach of the Year seasons, and the Flacco playoff run was a thing of beauty. It was beautiful. His play calling has still been horrible every time he goes out there and calls the plays. You can throw any stat you want. It doesn't pass the eye test.
I want to ask you this. Give me an example of what makes him bad. Don't just give me a broad example. Give me an example.
How many 3rd and 12 draws do you want him to run? I mean, I can think like that happened at least 6 times when he's calling plays.
6 times over the course of 4 years. Sometimes, yes, I agree with you. I will concede the fact that Kevin Stefanski calls things that piss us off. I've said it on the show before. You can look back to when we weren't even showing our faces on the YouTube channel. I have agreed with you on that point. But when it comes down to it, this man has, first of all, somehow not lost the locker room after all of this Deshaun Watson shit that's gone on in the last couple years here. He has, again, won all the awards, done all of the things I'm talking about. And we just brought in a young offensive coordinator who can bring fresh new ideas to the table for the Cleveland Browns while still following the Kubiak system of what has worked for the roster we've built. Out of anybody that's in this roster, anybody that is in this office, anybody that is on this coaching staff, if there's one man I trust to call a Kubiak style, West Coast, outside zone, play action, whatever buzzword about football you want to use, type of offense, it is one Kevin Samuel Stefanski. I have no idea if that was his middle name, but we're going to roll with it anyway. I don't know what else you want out of this guy. I understand that we are disgruntled and we have seen it, but when Stefanski gave up the plays, here's another point, and I want to ask you this question. When Stefanski gave up the plays and gave it over to Ken Dorsey, did you see anything different that made you feel positive?
Okay. All right. You gave Ken Dorsey an offense with
in there and
a practice squad quarterback.
Jameis Winston, a practice squad quarterback. Watch it.
He had Jameis Winston for 3 weeks, and then he missed the rest of the year, and we were rolling DTR and anybody else out there.
Yes, I get what you're saying, and no, it was longer than 3 weeks, I think. But even when Jameis Winston was out there, you're talking about handing the keys over to an offense to a different guy, which we were both all for here on the show. It didn't work. It is not how this team is built. It is not how Kevin Stefanski's coaching office, I don't know what word to use there, is built to do. It is built to let him call the plays, bring in big character guys like our offensive coordinator has been said to do, like our defensive coordinators of the past, present, and hopefully not future, because I still love our defensive coordinator as it is, to manage the guys on the team, because Kevin Stefanski operates as a CEO. He is a businessman when it comes to his coaching. You might not like it, but apparently it has worked in Cleveland because it is the best football we have seen in 25 years.
Like I said, I'm willing to give him the first quarter, but I do agree, and I will give you that he is the best option on our coaching staff right now to call our offense. But I'm still not saying that's a good option.
Here's my thing, man. If we were in that situation, and as much as they've gotten their pass for 2024, 2025, if it starts to go down the route this past season as we go into the 2025 season, his ass is grass, Barry's ass is grass, the whole coaching staff's ass is grass, everybody's ass is grass, right?
Absolutely.
If you were in that situation, what would you be doing if you were Kevin Stefanski?
I'd absolutely be taking control of my job and my future. I'm not blaming the guy. I just, until he puts out, give me 3 weeks of, and I keep coming back to it because it's the only thing that comes to mind, but give me 3 weeks of no third down draws. And I'll agree with you. I will sit here and let you play this clip however you want to cut it up to make me look like a moron. And then I'll stand up and applaud you at the end for your beautiful editing. Like, I don't trust the man. I hope we get back to the offense he's put on paper he can run. Put on film he can run. And, like we've talked about on this show, we're trying to, take that course of action this offseason. And if we get back to it, I want nothing more. And I know it sounds like it, but I'm really not a Kevin Stefanski hater. I like him as a coach. I don't like him as a play caller. I've said that exact sentence probably 100 times on this show.
My thing is this, man. You want to talk about being upset about third down draws. I'm picking this apart because you keep bringing it up, right? That is a part of the analytical Kubiak style, West Coast, outside zone, play action, blah, 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 offense that we have incorporated with this team. You might not like it, but it is a part of the philosophy. You try to run a draw on 12. Okay, you can think that. But whether it be Tommy Rees, Kevin Stefanski, Alex Van Pelt, Kyle Shanahan, whoever you want to put in there, that is part of the philosophy of this game, because analytically, a 3rd and 12 on the 30-yard line, you're not going to get the first down in terms of percentage numbers, all that big math stuff that we didn't go to an Ivy League school to do, right, Matt? You run the draw. It makes sense in the thought process of you hand it off, you maybe get a pop and that you get the first down, or you make the 4th down manageable. I'm not defending the fact that I agree with that mindset. It pisses me off as a fan when I have 2 Miller Lights in my hand in the stadium during the 3rd quarter after a night, day, evening, whatever in the Muni lot. But when you look at it, that kind of stuff isn't going to change. Just as some of the frustrating play calls and stupidity did not change when Ken Dorsey got the play sheet. That's just me, man.
See, but then here's my big issue with that. Look at the games we just watched this weekend. The championship round, championship Sunday. I mean, part A, I guess, of this is that's the dream, that's the goal, obviously. We want to win a Super Bowl, go to a Super Bowl. You don't see those frustratingly stupid football play calls nearly as often as they seem to happen in Cleveland with any of these playoff teams.
Okay.
And I get it's, building the philosophy, building a game flow. And yeah, there's something to that. But on the other hand, there's also something to, hey, it's 3rd and 12, and it's the NFL where you get maybe 12 drives a game. Running a draw basically concedes one of those. We're giving it up. Yeah, the odds of us maybe popping a 12-yard draw, I would like to know what the conversion rates are on, 8+ yard 3rd downs, running a draw versus throwing past the sticks.
I get what you're saying. You got to think, and I agree with wanting to know some of the statistics and stuff of that. Again, I'm not spouting that I completely believe in the philosophy of a Shanahan system, or not a Shanahan, a Kubiak system, but you have guys that run similar offensive identities to what Kevin Stefanski does, right? Not the Philadelphia Eagles, but the San Francisco 49ers are an example of this. Heavy run, outside play action. You don't need a big arm quarterback. You don't need a mobile quarterback to the level that you see like a Lamar Jackson or a Josh Allen, right? Those teams can win Super Bowls. It's just a frustrating offense, in my opinion, for fans like you and I, right? It's possible. It's been done. It's going to continue to be done, whether it be in the orange and brown or it be in the gold and maroon, or whether it be in some franchise in England that they open up because of the popularity of American football in England. Regardless, I think in terms of the dichotomy, everything that's going on with the Cleveland Browns right now, the best option is to put your money on a guy whose job is on the line and watch him succeed, because he's done it multiple times here in this offense, in this team, in this city. And that's why I feel decent about this decision. We'll see what happens. Me and you can continue to argue this as it continues to evolve and change, and maybe Tommy Rees gets a shot at one point. Who knows? I think Tommy Rees, real quick too, deserves some credit. He, in his college career as an offensive coordinator, was 42-10, 12-2 at Alabama, 30-8 when he was the offensive coordinator at Notre Dame. The ability's there. He just needs some NFL experience, and I wonder if, this whole thing works out and we keep Stefanski in this office and all of that, if Tommy Rees is going to be a play caller, regardless of if Stefanski succeeds or what have you. You know what I mean, Matt?
No, I mean, absolutely. He's a guy that I think was a pretty hot candidate, too, to, move up in the ranks. So I was happy to see him, not get poached.
Me as well. Listen, we're at the 20-minute mark already, so I'm going to cut us to commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about the ye old Cleveland Cavaliers. I just said ye old on the live. That's how tired I am. My bed over this way is looking fantastic. We'll be right back with At the Office after these commercial messages. And we are back at the office talking all things Cleveland sports. You know, it is a great day to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the download button if you're listening to the audio only version of this show. It helps us grow the brand and the channel a ton. Drop us a comment whether you're watching the live. We actually have a decent amount of people in here for an 11:43 airing right now, right on the cusp of the Monday to Tuesday. Really appreciate all of you guys tuning in before you hit the sheets. Listen to me and Matt chop it up about Cleveland sports. Check out the merch store at theofficecle.com. Matt finally picked up his merch, so I won't throw him under the bus. Hopefully his camera quality looks better because he upgraded the camera as well. I gave him my old webcam. So shout out to Matt for that. And shout out to Fans First Sports for supporting everything we do here. That was a mouthful. Matt, talk to me about the Cleveland Cavaliers. How are you feeling? They've been on a little bit of the slide. They've lost some more realistic pacing, 3 games in a row. You see that sometimes even from a championship team, not this juggernaut that goes 73-9 or whatever. How are you feeling? Obviously, we both probably feel a little bit better after that Detroit win, but give me your thoughts, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'll start with, before today's game, how I was feeling was bound to happen. Sucks that we just talked about in our last episode how they might be a 70 with the potential was there, because clearly that doesn't look very good now. But I'm still super confident in the team, before tonight even. I agree with
the Kevin is no play caller. Shout out Lillian Olson, my grandma. Still in here at 11:43. She gets shout out Gmail, but continue with your Cavs take, my friend. I'm sorry for throwing you off.
I think the one thing that it's kind of shown us, though, for the first time this season is where we struggle a little bit more. It's highlighted some flaws, not necessarily flaws, but areas we could improve in a little bit, which is something that hasn't happened much this year. And honestly, I think could be a big thing, come playoff basketball. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but, if we can see some of the flaws now before they get exposed when it matters, that'd be important, obviously.
Yeah, I think the big part of this slide, right, is first of all, the injuries to Evan Mobley, Isaac Okoro, Dean Wade, and Karis LeVert. Sorry, I was trying to think of the last player there. All of these injuries happen at different times. Evan Mobley is, of course, back at this point now. But I think it shows how important Mobley and Okoro is to this team's defense. Can I throw some stats at you, Matt?
Absolutely.
4 out of the last 5 games before tonight's Pistons game, the Cavs had a defensive rating of 135.4, 132.5, 113.7, and 124.5. That was a win still to Minnesota. Real quick, for those who don't know about defensive rating, the lower the number, the better. So think golf score. So 135, 132, 113, 124 is not great. Their typical rating is at about a 112, which put them at 10th at the league. And that's factoring in some of these lower numbers, right? The defense slid, and I think it's showing how important Evan Mobley is to the structure of this team under Kenny Atkinson. Mobley came back in that Houston game on Saturday night. They still lost. The defense did not look good. It was his first game back after an injury, though, so I'll give him some credit there. Their defense tonight, you want to guess how good their defense was? They won by 20 and did not shoot great. So do you think they had a better defensive rating?
I would have to imagine it was a pretty solid defensive rating tonight.
It was a pretty solid defensive rating at 95.3. Yes, it's against the Pistons. Yes, they're not a fantastic team compared to some of the teams we played in the last week, but it's a positive sign in terms of even when they weren't shooting fantastic, they are back on their defensive prowess, which is what makes this team so good. Matt, what else are you thinking in terms of the Cavs?
I think you hit it right on the head there with, the importance of Evan Mobley. And I want to double down on how awesome it is to see him take that step this year and kind of be the superstar we've always wanted him and expected him to be. But I mean, the other, to flip that on its head, injuries are a concerning thing. And kind of what I was talking about there earlier is that highlights if Evan Mobley goes down again, our defense is going to slide again. So, I mean, with that in mind, what were you saying?
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Well, real quick, I'll just tap in right here, and then you could ask me your question you were going to ask me. That all depends in my mind, too. Isaac Okoro is a premier defender in terms of the NBA right now. So maybe if there's an injuries happen in the NBA and the NFL and professional sports in general. So having a guy who is a defensive dog like Isaac Okoro can help that thing. Just like Evan Mobley, who was a runner-up for Defensive Player of the Year already in his 22nd year of life or whatever it was last year. This is the type of thing that can help sort of that. But go ahead, ask your question.
So what I was getting at, though, anyway, is, both the guys you just mentioned have a bit of an injury history. Another guy on this roster may not hurt. Does that Cam Johnson trade we talked about, I know you have some feelings on, does that make a little more sense now, you think?
Yeah, Cam Johnson is an interesting case, right? I think he is a good fit in terms of being a 3D kind of a forward, a fit in terms of that offensive lineup or the starting lineup, for the Cleveland Cavaliers. However, I went down the rabbit hole because I was looking at defensive ratings and stuff, comparing Cam Johnson to, the three main guys who have started at the three. Yes, Sam Merrill has started there too, but the three main guys that you think of as the starting three for the Cleveland Cavaliers: Dean Wade, Isaac Okoro, Max Strus, right? When you compare Cam Johnson this season to those three players in terms of defensive rating, Cam Johnson has a defensive rating of 118.2. Dean Wade has a 111.1. Isaac Okoro has a 114.8. Max Strus has a 115.1. So I say all of this to say defense seems to be the problem with this team right now. So if you're like, oh, we need to go get Cam Ward, he'll help us on defense, or he'll help us because he'll score more, this, that, and the third, I don't think he's worth it if you have to give up the bench. I do think it's worth it, as we talked about last week, if you can give up that 2031 first and some back-end bench pieces like a Craig Porter Jr., like a Jalen Tyson, and some seconds to get him. But I think that asking price is still going to be too astronomical and too harmful to the Cavs core. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that too. I think a more generalized stance would be, I think, adding, another guy, whether that's a starter, star-esque caliber player, or even just a, depth role player that can be there for an injury. I think it would be helpful, but you don't want to blow up everything just for one hot start to a season.
I agree. I like Cam Johnson as a fit on this Cavs roster. But I will continue to reiterate until he either gets traded to us or traded somewhere else or stays on the Nets. That's a possibility as well, that I don't want to overpay for him. I want him. I think he'll help us on a championship run. Do not get me wrong when I sound negative talking about him, but I do not want to give up the house for him, and the house being our fantastic bench. Matt, it's been a long day for the both of us. Well, not you. You were off. I was working left, right, and center. Let's get into random thoughts and hot takes. What is your random thought or hot take for the day to wrap this show up?
This is going to be a weird flip on its head, and I've been thinking about how to try to phrase this.
Oh, God.
Because I just, spent the first half of this episode arguing with you and led off with, oh, brother, here we go again.
Yeah.
And this really isn't even, a random thought or a hot take. but I didn't bring this up earlier because I wanted to save it for now. Something in my gut tells me it's going to work out pretty well. And, that first 20 minutes is going to make me look like a fool, but I'm here for it.
Yeah, I don't know if it's some blind optimism. I'm still sipping the happy Kool-Aid of the Buckeyes winning a national championship or what have you. By the way, we haven't even got to talk about it, me and you. What a game, man. What a game, right?
Of course, they had to let it almost get close at the end.
You wouldn't be an Ohio sports fan without it, my friend. No, but I agree with you. I could see it, and maybe that's the optimist in me. I typically play the optimist to your pessimist when we do this show, but I do agree with you. My final thought and take is I shouldn't quit my day job because that throw, Matt today got my my Cavs employee tickets, right? And I tried to throw him a T-shirt, and I missed wide up. I looked like Deshaun Watson after the shoulder injury and on the yips during the Dallas Cowboys for week 1 when I was trying to hit him with that T-shirt. He still got one. He still got it. It just went behind him. He had to pick it up. So my hot take is to throw a dig at myself and not to quit my day job. Matt, you got anything else for the people? I'm ready to go to bed, man.
I mean, I am too. I just want to say thank you again for, the tickets tonight. It was a great time. I appreciate that.
Yes, sir. Anything for the homies, right? This has been another episode of At the Office. Thank you for joining us. If you're listening to the audio-only version, hit the download button. If you're watching the YouTube version, of course, please hit that subscribe button. Check us out on all socials. You can see it above my head right there. It's @The Office CLE, @The Office CLE. Matt, it's been a pleasure. To everyone watching, have a great day. Have a great night, and until next time, Cleveland, stay up.